Hello, everyone. Welcome to the call today. I am trying to get Sydney here. I'm not sure what's going on. So I just wanted to open the call and say hello while we wait on her. There she comes. Hi,
Hey,
Sydney.
hello
Hey,
everyone. Hi Gretchen, nice to see you.
nice to see you too. Nice to meet you on video.
Such a pleasure. Thank you.
Awesome. Officially, welcome, Sydney. Sydney Campos. Is that how I say your last name?
You got it.
Okay.
Yeah, hello. This is so cool. What an amazing global collective we have here. I love it.
We sure do. We sure do. So this is your first time on the show. So it's
Yeah.
great to have you here. Excited to dive in.
Thank you. And I'm curious, just since everyone's putting in their location, I'm in Brooklyn, New York, and where are you located?
I'm in Pennsylvania.
Oh,
So
right.
I'm far
Okay.
from you. I'm from State College. So I'm not just
Oh,
just down a little bit from you. So
great.
awesome. I love that we have East Coasters on this call because it doesn't always happen very much. So I
Yeah.
love that. So, all right, awesome. So, guys, we will officially kick off this call and let me introduce you to Sydney. So, Sydney Campos is a visionary, energy expert, strategy, and innovation advisor, transformational facilitator, and best-selling author of The Empath Experience. What do you do when you feel everything? And I'm ascending. Now what? She's the founder of Akashic Facilitator Training and lead instructor of the Embodied Ascension Academy. Sydney is devoted to creating heaven on earth. Since 2012, she has guided visionaries worldwide to embody their true selves, powerfully live their purpose, and pioneer the worlds we wish existed. Whether advising conscious companies, mentoring leaders, training intuitive facilitators, or hosting life changing retreats, Sydney illuminates bridges into new dimensions. Sydney is a sought after expert in embodiment, consciousness, business, intuition, and leadership. She has been featured in Forbes, Mind, Body Green, Refinery 29, Bustle, Pure Wow, and New York Magazine. So, Sydney, officially welcome to today's call. So excited to dive into this topic, which is Entourage, an embodied ascension accelerator to amplify your presence, power, and purpose.
Cool. Yeah, I guess that's the name of one of my courses that I'm offering here. So that's a big, gives us a big, wide open space to play in, all about embodiment,
Yeah.
leadership, intuitive development, some of my favorite things.
Yeah, and so I absolutely love that. And guys, I really would like you to ask questions as we go on because this is a topic that's near and dear to the community's heart. So ask your questions as we dive in. And I think you have a process you're going to take us through too at some point, Sydney. So
Yeah.
meditation or
Let's start
uh,
with that. What do you think? I was just it's so
right.
funny to hear my long bio read. It feels so funny. But I was just starting to like kind of drop in, and as everybody is naming where you are, I was imagining this global grid that we're all holding, and where we are on the planet, and that we're meeting right now in this moment is not random. And I know in my heart that when we gather like this with the intention to really connect and heal and listen, just remember presence, we create miracles. We create phenomenal manifestations. We have everything we need. And so I'd love to start with the practice if you're open
I
to it. I
love
think that
that.
would
Yeah.
feel really okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then from there, we'll be way more clear on where to go next. So welcome, everyone. It's such an honor to be with you. I feel really moved to be connecting with you today. There's nowhere I'd rather be. Thank you. So, if you'd like, you can find yourself in a nice, comfortable position. You may be seated, you may also lay down. For this kind of experience, it may feel good to sit up straight with your spine really elongated so that you can receive. We're going to be exploring a fusion of meditations and breath work, and also some energy healing. We'll be supporting intuitive um, amplification, your own gifts, your own listening. So, as you find yourself in a comfortable place, Go ahead and deepen the breath. You can let your eyes gently close. This time is for you. Space is for you. What a gift to really give yourself the gift of presence, your own attention in a world filled with so much distraction, so much data, more than we've ever faced before. This is such a precious moment to focus on you and your inner world. And allow your breath to deepen as much as you can. You can even try breathing in through the soles of your feet, breathing in through the base of your spine, breathing in through your belly or your heart, whatever part of your body feels really easeful, nourishing. And allow your breath to fill you up completely. You might feel good sighing out with a sound. Just really letting anything you're holding go. There's nothing to hold on to right now, nothing to keep track of. And see if you can make contact with the earth in whatever way feels true for you. Breathing in the energy of the earth up through your feet and legs and body. Breathing in the energy of the earth through your heart. Or simply connecting and acknowledging, hello, I'm here. Hi, earth. Thank you. I want to connect more deeply. I want to be all the way here. If you do. Hmm. So there's a really strong energetic current present. Perhaps you're aware, maybe some heightened emotions present or just heightened sensitivity. With every breath, allowing just more light to flow through your fields, more light naturally flowing through your body. Just by opening up and letting go of any holding on, any tension. And letting the earth's energy cleanse and ground and recalibrate your field to be in more harmony with this dimension, this realm, this physicalized experience. Let's welcome all of our guides, all of our support teams, all of our higher dimensional aspects, spirits, elemental beings, plant animal kingdoms. Call in the energy of the specific land upon which you find yourself, calling in the energy of Brooklyn, New York, Pennsylvania, San Francisco, all the places listed, your place. Call in the energy of the land upon which you call home right now. There are guides and guardians and spirits of the land that you call home, and they want to work with you more. They want to support you. I'm calling in all of our ascended master beings, angelics, spirit guides of all kinds. Welcome, thank you. We are here, we are open. We are listening. And if you'd like to imagine yourself surrounded by a white pillar of light, you can start to feel this waterfall of light rushing down through your crown, the top of your head, all the way down through your whole energy field, whole body. Getting a nice shower of cleansing, clearing, purifying light, washing all the way through the fingertips and toes, rinsing through the cells and the DNA, all the layers of your physicalized being, energetic body. Opening up your circuitry to flow more of your energy, your life force, your presence. And when you take a deep breath in, you might feel your cells expand even more to receive more light. And on the exhale, feeling an even deeper flow of energy clearing through all layers of your being. Relaxing muscles and any gripping sensations, just relaxing and noting any sensations that feel good, that feel nourishing, really focusing on the breath. Beautiful. Hmm. And in the space of expanded awareness, we can play. And we have a ripe blank canvas on which to explore and ask any questions you might have. And question I love to begin with, and opening up your intuitive listening and abilities, it's just asking, what's most important for me to know right now? What's important for me to hear, to remember, to receive, to help me on my path? And when you ask this question, you just listen to feel a message, maybe even hear a message. You might feel a sensation. You might notice an image. It's like a memory or a picture. You might have a thought. You might feel a sensation in a particular part of your body or feel an energetic shift of some kind. There's all kinds of ways your intuitive knowing communicates. Especially now more than ever, there's so much opening up in our bodies and our capacity to feel and translate this reality. And it might be that what's really supportive for your path right now is just to receive, to continue to receive healing energy transmission, support for the nervous system and energy body, to feel more peace and calm, to feel more safety, which is really the basis for all true healing and regeneration. The body knows how to do naturally when given the right conditions and support. And if you feel curious about guidance or more specifics, you can always ask again or ask another question and allow yourself to not be so attached to how the message comes through or what a message is or any message at all. Trusting that whatever's meant for you always arrives in the right time, in the right way, in the right place, when you're really ready to receive. So if not now, maybe later, maybe in your dreams, another time. I'm really feeling in our collective field assembled here and anyone tuning in later in the future now. There's a very deep um, acknowledgement from our guides, from source, whatever you believe in. There's an acknowledgement that it is so important to make time like this to receive, to deeply receive and remember, to really allow everything to slow down, even slower than you think, and then even slower than that. And they say specifically, even slower than you think, even slower than you think, as in when we slow down enough, we go beyond the space of thought, we go beyond the space of the mind. And there's so much here for us to explore beyond these limited realms of linear, analytical, logical thought that we've been so conditioned to orient in. There's so much more beyond and beneath those layers, and we're really welcomed to explore more of our feeling, more of our deeper knowing, more of our creative, curious imagination, different ways of orienting to reality through the body, through embodied presence, through allowing your energetic presence to inhabit your body, to inhabit your form, to inhabit your cells. This is where you feel your true power, your true potential, and that it is a capacity that is built. It is a practice to truly practice, to commit to explore in your way, and to do consistently. Hmm. Thank you. Yeah. And I just feel the presence, I'll name for a lot of those assembled in this collective today, I feel the presence of many angelic, they feel to me to be from angelic realms. Just these really beautiful light beings, very big, big light beings, big wings, very nurturing presence, like feeling the energy of the Divine Mother, whatever that means to you in many forms. This deep, divine, feminine, healing presence of Mother, of love, of unconditional love. And this reminder in that to like allow yourself to feel as a child again, to allow yourself space to be a child, to feel your child self, to love and nurture your child self, and to receive that type of unconditional love as a mother would give a child from yourself, from those you love and care about, from those you're in relationship with. Such deep resource is available in this way of being. Mm. Yeah, and to anchor that in, if it feels good, you can make an acknowledgement to your inner child self. This aspect is available, and just say, "Hi, little one, I love you. I'm here for you. I'm curious to get to know you more." You can even ask your guides for support with healing any ruptures or resistance in the way. Just asking to be showered with divine love, with unconditional love and healing, with grace. Mm. Such a deep heart healing happening for humanity at this time. Very deep, deep opening the heart, feeling safety to love, safety to open, safety to be really, really present and truly as you are, to be seen, to be revealed, to be vulnerable. So courageous. Ah, beautiful. And just allow yourself to return to feeling the breath move through the body, breathing all the way in and through, all the way up and down, filling the body with the energy of the earth if you'd like, for a deeper grounding in of all that's received. Ah. Hmm. Beautiful. And then I am imagining this, just imagining the earth. If it feels fun, you can picture the earth just wrapped in a golden white light, wrapped in the light of unconditional love and healing, and that all beings who are open, awakening, ready to receive the support, the guidance, the nourishment, the affirmation that they truly deserve. That is their birthright. May all beings be happy, joyous, and free, and know that they are loved. Know that they are love. Hmm. Hmm. Beautiful. And then I like to end this kind of practice with a kind of a deeper, yeah, like grounded in physically. So if you'd like to join me, just give yourself a big hug. And it's really good to give yourself a compression. This is actually a real technique, believe it or not, in somatic experiencing. Really beautiful way to create containment and grounding if you ever feel anxious or nervous or you've done a big energetic activation. Really create compression and grab your shoulder and then grab under the other shoulder and just really give yourself a big squeeze. You can inhale and squeeze. Feel that compression against your arms. And then when you exhale, squeeze even tighter, like you're squeezing the air out of you. This is really nice to rest into. You can do that a few times. And just feel yourself grounding, receiving your own loving touch, loving contact. So many people are starved for physical touch, and we're such physical, connective beings, touch and presence and attunement are human needs. And so important that we can give ourselves this type of love and support. Yeah, and you can even try the other side and see if that feels different for you. I like to, I just cracked my neck. You can kind of like roll out your neck a little bit. And I like to stretch out my face and just make some nice sighs and sounds, signaling to the cells and to the body that we're here, we're alive, we're activated, we're present, we're back. Maybe we never left. Yeah, it always makes me laugh sometimes when people like guide energetic practices and they're like, come back into your body. And I'm like, isn't the whole point to stay in your body? Like, aren't we really trying to remember to stay? So, I hope that felt nourishing and supportive. I felt a lot of emotion moving today. I'll just name that again. It feels like, there's a heavy energy I'm present to. Not everyone might feel that. I tend to track things as they're happening a little bit ahead of when others feel them, but it's big. There's a big heart opening. That's how I translate it. And I've noticed just more sensitivity generally today. And so when that happens, it's really important to tune in with our self-care, self-love practices, as always, but maybe more on days like today. So beautiful to share with you all. Thank you so much.
Awesome. I loved that. I would love to hear how you guys are doing too. I was definitely, oh my gosh, Andrea, I was just getting ready to say this less in my head. Like I could feel like the past couple of days I've been here and like through that process, I was like, oh, that's why I've been feeling so uptight because I'm here, you know? So that was beautiful. I was just getting ready. Andrea says, feeling lighter, less in my head. Thank you. Yeah, me too. Very, very good. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Awesome. Lots of hearts came through as well through that process. So I feel like one thing that really popped out at me when I saw what you do and the program you put together for us was you have ascension and like purpose and passion like all in the same and gifts like all in the same sentence. So I would love to know like how they all kind of go together. Everyone's talking about ascension these days, right? And people talk about like purpose and living your purpose and your passion, but you've really brought them together. So I would love to know like what that looks like and why it really helps accelerate the process when you bring them all together.
Well, it's really great that you say everyone's talking about ascension now. I love to hear that. And it reminds me of a couple years ago when I was starting to write my latest book, I'm Ascending Now What? And so many publishers were like, what does ascension mean? Like, nobody gets what this is until I
Yeah,
found my team. And they're like, I still don't really know what this is, but I think that because people are, our team is asking about what this is, that's signaling that something is coming. And this was about 4 years ago. So
nice.
we've had a big shift. And this is something, ascension, awakening, human evolution is something I've been tracking since I woke up in 2011. And
Wow.
in my story is I was a, drug addict and alcoholic and just found all the ways to numb because I felt too much and I didn't know how to take care of myself. And it was just too hard to be a human. And so that was my way of coping and just, managing until eventually, I tried to exit the planet many times and I wasn't really allowed to go. So I chose to stuck around and with so much grace and just started to learn about how to better take care of my body and what it is like to have a sensitive nervous system and be incredibly psychic and intuitive and come from a lot of trauma and how to heal and how to recover and how to feel safe to be myself. And then, so this fusion of like, awakening, ascension, and purpose, it's one and the same.
Hmm.
And for a while in my path, I mean, I used to think like, I was talking to a friend about this the other day, and I used to have programs when I've been coaching for like over a decade and really with my own kind of online business for the last 8 years. And earlier on in my journey with that, I was really coaching people with a focus of, live your purpose, live your passion, and let's also build you a business that is about structuring your offerings of your soul purpose through a business, through a service. And and I love that. And that's so much fun. And part of what I've come to understand these last few years is that your purpose isn't actually necessarily what you do.
Hmm.
It's who you are, and it's how you're being. And this is something it's so important, personally it's been a challenge for me to unravel that because I've, historically sought a lot of value through my work. And
Mhm.
my what I do has for most of my life been wrapped up with who I am. And that's beautiful. I think the deeper we go into our authenticity, the more anything we do becomes, an outgrowth of our purpose because it's, we're being who we love to be and we're being real and whatever we do is part of our purpose, of course. But yeah, it just felt important to mention that because I think some people have challenges with that. It can be a distortion sometimes, especially in the day and age of just so much data and social media where people are trying to sell you so much on, like monetize your spiritual gifts and, make your
Right.
well, every single person is like, make a spiritual coaching business. And if
Yes.
that's really what you want to do, then amazing. But
Yeah.
your purpose doesn't have to be your business. Like you're still a great person if you have a job doing something else that's totally not related to your passion, your spiritual gifts or like your soul purpose. I think there's been so much weight and pressure put on people in that regard. And I might have even been a part of that earlier on in my business. So I'm just naming that and all that to say, so how I orient now and what I love to guide people in and just empower people with is like all the tools, all the practices, all the ways that you can feel safe and also stable energetically to really embody your essence, to embody your power. So the practice we just shared was a perfect example of that. It's an energetic capacity that must be built to
Mm.
feel safe in one's body and one's nervous system, to allow your true presence to stabilize in a consistent way. So many of us, I mean, I know I have had like the heaviest personality of all time, like so many personas and identities and boxes we put ourselves in to feel safe and to relate and to be understood. And it gets really heavy. It's a lot to manage. And what if it doesn't have to be like that? What's it like to feel more present, more consistently, and not think so much, and actually have a different set of tools come online within your being that guide you through more intuitive curiosity, more creativity, more fun, more expansion, and mostly I would say my favorite part of, teaching intuitive development is just like the love and support that comes through knowing that like you walk through the world knowing you have everything you need and that you have support on speed dial from infinite guides at any moment and
Mm.
that you're good and you can just approach the world in a totally different way.
Yeah, that's very cool. You said so many things that really resonated with me, and one, and a lot of our audience will know, I often talk about purpose, and when there it's because it's been drilled in our head for so long, right? You got to find your purpose, you got to live your purpose, you like got all of this. And when you don't, like for so long, I felt less than because I couldn't find my purpose, you know? So like I love what you say, that really resonates. And also just the purpose is to be, right? Like to be who you are. And that, it just kind of it takes all that pressure off, because I think we try to figure things out as humans, on a human level and a brain level. And it just puts so much pressure on, even just to the point of like being stuck in my head for the past couple of days. It was all about pressure, right? Putting on myself. So coming down and bringing back, coming back into ourselves, you just kind of release that and really get to know who you are. So I really appreciate that. Um, you talk about intuitive gifts and intuitive development. So can you expand on what is that? What is intuitive development? That really kind of piqued my interest when you said that phrase.
Yeah. Well, there's also something you said I want to mention. It weaves in, we're just up against so much conditioning in these bodies and being born at this time and the culture and all of the different societal constructs and different like identities that we're pressured to live into, and it's a lot. It's like a
Yes.
full-time job just like managing that in addition to like, if you have a family, if you have a job, like it's a lot. And so I really have so much compassion. I welcome us to remember to like really give ourselves so much compassion for just being here.
Mm,
And human means light being, I think. I don't know if that's just how I heard it right now. Like we're light beings. We are light beings. We're spiritual beings. We're divine beings. We learned to orient in this very limited frame of the mind for safety and survival, and it was helpful for navigating lower dimensional consciousness that's more linear and kind of black and white and has different rules. And now, as we've been evolving into higher dimensional frequencies and consciousness on the planet over the last, you can mark a few different milestones. 2012 was a significant one, 1987 was a significant one. In the last couple of years, there's been an enormous uptick. And you've noticed this if you've been feeling more, if you've been feeling like things speed up, if you've been noticing your manifestations, your desires, it's all sped up. Or if, there's ways in which you're out of integrity or incongruent with what you say you want, your awareness of those pain points is accelerated, is heightened. And what's beautiful about ascension and just rising consciousness, higher frequencies, is that ultimately what we're growing towards is more truth. When we're running higher speeds and allowing more of our energetic bodies to come online, we can't hide anything. We don't
Mm,
have bandwidth for inefficiency or to manage fake anything, to fake identities. We just can't. It's an old, outdated game. We can only really be in truth and deeper truth and authenticity. And your intuitive gifts are implied. It's just an implied part of turning your body on.
mm.
I feel a little emotional because I feel like a really direct message for this group right now and for myself. Thank you. Ah, my guys are so funny. They always they like say things in jokes. So they're like, they're like, you were never meant to be stuck in your mind. The mind was just there to help you temporarily. It was a step along the way to learn the mind and the analytical and the linear ability and the gifts that come from that. But we're always really wired to be intuitive beings. This is our natural design. It's actually far more efficient, far more creative and expansive to orient to reality from an intuitive lens. It almost feels funny to even try to explain it because it's meant to be more natural than ever, like breathing.
Mhm. Mm. Good example. Wow. Yeah, I love that message. Laura, even she said, it seems like we make things more difficult than they need to be.
We don't make them, though. Well, of course, I mean, we're creating our experience to some extent, and we
Mm,
inherit a lot of conditioning. We inherit a lot of survival structures within our DNA when we're born. And that can go into like, inherited family trauma and lineage and collective. And, whoever's been born in the last 50 years, we've come in to clean up a lot of history so that we can, it's a trip. This reality is a trip, and being in a body is wild. And honestly, I think some of the most important work we can ever do while we're alive is to really understand and learn how your body uniquely in your own way, loves to feel supported, safe, present, and really full of energy, full of power. We've been conditioned for so many lifetimes even to like not allow our full power, full energy to run through the body, to run all the way in and through. And what kind of world do we live in when more people are fully turned on and really radiating their frequency and their light and living as the free, intuitive, sovereign, really peaceful, brilliant beings that we are, that each of us is.
mhm. Yeah, what kind of a world would that be? Huh,
Sounds
yeah.
pretty fun. I mean, we're here
It's
for the experiment.
like you just picture it. I just love that. Yeah, it would just be the first thing that I pictured when you said that was our phones no longer existed.
Your point, beautiful. Yeah, to your point, a lot of our technology that we've seen rapidly accelerate over the last 30, 40 years. I mean, the iPhone only came out like 20, less than 20 years ago, I think. And so, and think of how ubiquitous that technology is now. And so I constantly am reminded that a lot of the technology we've built externally is really a mirror of our bodies' innate ability to telepathically communicate, just like we have the internet. We are the intranet, and we're
Yeah.
we're highly evolved as we start to turn on these different energy centers and we let go of trauma and we heal the nervous system. It doesn't happen overnight, but it's now able to happen in a more efficient way now more than ever by nature of the frequencies running through the planet and running through our bodies, helping us let go of density, let go of the lower frequencies, let go of the patterns, the survival, the thinking mechanisms. And and then we start to remember innately, our telepathy or empathy, higher degrees of empathy, clairsentience, claircognizance. We're all wired very differently and uniquely in terms of the types of gifts that we may find most prominent within our systems. But I remember times on Earth and other iterations of this planet where we have had the experience of living in a highly evolved, multidimensional society where we didn't even talk. We were
Mm,
telepathic. We were telepathic beings. And there's part of the reason we still have language now is that we're learning about integrity and truth. And there's still lessons to be learned around lying, which can only be done through talking. You can't lie if you're telepathic.
mm. Yeah, makes so much sense. Wow. Wow, this is so fascinating. So how a couple questions. One, first of all, let's address Audrey here. She says, I have a fear of my own power. Um, so a lot of us do, I think, so you shut it, you kind of shut it down, or that fear kind of takes over. So I would love to hear your thoughts on that and how we kind of move through that.
I wrote a long book about it. You might
Ah!
really resonate. Really resonate. It's all about embodying your true self and owning your power and the exact practices to do that. So,
Hmm.
all there. And let me just tune in with you, Audrey. Thank you for vulnerably sharing that. I know so many people relate. And what comes up is also like to mention the thing that most of us are like afraid to share or ashamed of sharing, or the thing that's really hard for us is usually the thing that most of us have in common, And so I love that you shared that. And so many people probably are like, me too. So it's
Mm,
so universal to feel that. So let's see. Fear of owning the power. What does that mean, actually? Hmm. Yeah, well, first, I commend you for awareness and then a desire to shift and transform. And it can be a gradual process, when you're talking about power. Again, this comes back to capacity and building the nervous system, the energy system with capacity, with bandwidth, with stability, with like a container. What comes to mind is like, I'm being shown this image, maybe it's helpful. It's like, you have a big bowl and you want to like fill it with water, right? To like do something with. And if the bowl has holes in it, the water, aka the power or the ingredients or the raw material, is going to like seep out, and it's not efficient, it's not effective. And so you want to have a bowl or a container that is really solid, that's stable, that's strong, that's going to contain whatever it is that you want it to hold for a long time, forever. And so many of us are moving around with energy fields that have all kinds of holes in them and have all kinds of leakages, and it's just not efficient. And you're running, energy is just draining out. And so and this is power. This is our power, is our energy. Our power can also be, the energy required to create, to show up in life, to have idea, to use our intuitive gifts, it's who we are. It's our life force, it's our presence. And so, okay, cool. And a lot of people too will resonate with just what I mentioned earlier, which is like we inherit a lot of history and memory from our families. So if we come from a family line where especially a certain side of the lineage or the masculine or feminine embodied beings have repressed a lot of their power because it wasn't safe to speak the truth. It wasn't safe to be who they really are. It wasn't welcomed for them to be creative. And they, ended up doing a job that they never wanted to do to get their parents' approval, or just these kinds of patterns we're all aware of, but this is what we're up against. So that might be unconsciously, those kinds of patterns might be wired in the DNA in the cells, and we're not victim to it. But the first step is awareness, intention. I want things to be different. I want to feel my power. Do you want to feel your power? Do you want to feel more alive? Do you want to feel more strength and possibility? Something else that can come up with that can be an unconscious resistance is, you might think, do want more power. I want to feel more powerful. That sounds great. Let's do it. But then an unconscious resistance is, I don't actually want more power because with that comes more responsibility. And with that comes more stress or more expectations or more opportunity, more choice. And that's
Mm.
overwhelming. So then we have to come back to the just building the container, building the nervous system as a safe, stable foundation to slowly, gradually start to build more of that capacity for more power to come online. And then as that happens, more of these like older personality or survival structures of repression, of unworthiness, of all the different layers of shame, all kinds of things in there, it can just start to unwind. And the cool thing is, we don't always have to even intellectually understand why things are happening the way they're happening, or like I have to understand the thing before I can let it go. I can just let it unravel and let it slowly, or not so slowly sometimes, start to unwind, and you start to feel different and you start to build that sense of safety with just running more energy, feeling more sensitivity, feeling more of your intuitive abilities and gifts. Um, it can be really revealing, as we become powerful, more in our power. It means we're saying yes to more awareness. And, there's no good or it's all just neutral. This is just information that I'm sharing. It's not like that's great or that's bad. It can be, depending on who you are, challenging. It's like more to grow through, more awareness. Oh my gosh, I'm more aware of like other traumas that I'm now ready to deal with. Oh, I'm more aware of incongruencies in my life and my purpose and my relationships. And now knowing what I see and know, I can't do this anymore. And I get to change my orientation and my identity. And so it's a wild journey. I call it the upward spiral, or I didn't make that up, but it's just, and
Yeah.
we're here to learn. We're here to learn. We're here to grow. We're here to be powerful. I feel it. I know it. It's not always fun and light and shiny and easy. It can be really challenging and really, really deep. But I feel like we're meant to be really deep, full spectrum embodied beings. I mean, that's what I'm here for.
Sydney, as you were talking, I would love to hear, because you talked about, transitioning and letting go if things, aren't right, or, like as you grow. I would love to hear your experience, because you were coaching, right, to where you are now, and just how that transition was for you, like how you navigated it. Because I think a lot of us are in transition right now. So I would just love to kind of just, because I think your story may resonate with a lot of us.
Yeah. Well, I'm in an interesting transition again, honestly. I mean, 2011, I started awakening, getting into spiritual practice, and really just committing to trying and learning everything that could help me feel better. Um, and at that time, I had a career in advertising and media in New York City, actually. And I did that for until 2016. I helped grow a PR agency. Had so much fun. It was awesome. And then 2016, I talk about this in my book, The Empath Experience. And I started to feel like, okay, wow, I'm having these really supernatural experiences. I was, for the a couple of years before leaving to launch my own business, I was, seeing clients for energy healing. I was starting to do work in the Akashic Records. I was just having this fast track of like everything coming online. And it
Oh,
started to feel very incongruent to go to an office and, we check in, and I had the best team also, like amazing people, but it started to feel weird. I'm like, wait, I can't really tell people what I'm doing on the weekend because they wouldn't, I'm seeing these like having these galactic activations and just wild stuff. And they're like, I went, it's just different, really different realities. And so I started to feel that nudge, like, I think it's time to start my own thing. And about a year before I left, I had started a coaching program. I took a online, coaching program with the Institute for Integrative Nutrition. Great program. If you want info on it, let me know. I'm happy to refer you. And it was honestly like I had a lot of natural ability and skills with coaching. I had been a consultant, like that all felt very natural to me. But investing in a program where I was like committed to learning, a framework for a suggested method of coaching that was also kind of filling in some blanks I had about nutrition and health and wellness, and then also connected me to a community. It was awesome. It was one of the best things I could have ever done. And doing that program just affirmed. I'm like, wait a minute, I'm really good at this. What am I doing? Like, I need to be doing this. This is what I'm meant for.
Yeah.
And that really helped me to take the leap. And it wasn't an overnight, it was a lot of resistance at first. Like, wait a minute, so much conditioning about having a paycheck and insurance and the stability that a job, alleges to afford. And oh, and I had also hired a life coach, and I started working with a coach and just getting more clear on my vision, and I made like a year-long vision of like the trajectory to leave my job and start my business. And the coach I was working with really helped me to just shorten that timeline. And looking back, to be honest, I don't have any regrets, honestly, but I've learned a lot. And so now when I coach people through that transition, which I've helped many people through navigating the transition of a career into entrepreneurship or just any kind of big career transition, I'm very aware of really supporting people to tune in to their correct timing, because it can be very easy to get caught up in a rush and
Yeah.
caught up, and also to frankly miss the lesson. Like if you're starting to feel that awakening and the job is no longer fits and it's hard and it's draining, a lot of people are feeling that. And like work isn't really designed to meet us in these evolved, authentic, creative ways that we're growing and learning. Like the way companies are designed are it's from an old ancient antiquated time, right? And so but it's the thing that a lot of people miss, and what I think I might have done differently had I known what I know now is like, did I complete the lessons? We don't show up in jobs or teams by accident or by mistake. It's not random. I was in that job in that company to learn a lesson about myself, about my leadership, about my authenticity, about communication, whatever it is, about energetic exchange, balance, integrity. There's no better place, honestly, to learn about yourself than in relationship with other people, and especially when you're trying to build something. So, work has this potential to be this really cool alchemical container in which we learn and grow if we choose to approach it that way. But a lot of people are like, no, I'm just going to leave. I really want a new job. I want a new business. I want to be happy. But then the same unresolved energy that led you to that original job in the first place is still there. And likely a lot of those same lessons are going to follow you. Even if you go into your new thing and temporarily it's really exciting and it's new and it's awesome, those underlying core wounds or whatever that wasn't fully resolved, it's going to come up again. And so I say that from experience that like don't quit before you've really felt like, okay, I've really learned all there is to learn here. I've really gotten the lesson. I feel complete. There's not like open energy here that I'm avoiding, that I'm escaping. And then honestly, starting from there, I imagine, and the times I've done that, yeah, it's different. It's different because you have more spaciousness, to see more clearly from a present moment, orientation. Like, yeah, what is my next right step? What am I going to create? Especially if you're building your own business, you get to really lead with this different, intuitive, heart-centered approach, and I go deep into this. I have a training called 5D Visionary Business Training. It's all about this, and it's about starting your own business and creating your services. And so I didn't do that with my last, when I left in 2016. I was really kind of, and it was just all different. It's okay. I love that part of that version of me. I was a very different person. And I left some open energies, and I also left and like kind of just threw caution to the wind and was a little impulsive and like, it's fine. I'm going to magnetize all the clients and just pray. And I did. And I was okay for a while. And then I also had really deep initiations of like, talk about not letting my full power run and giving power away to other people and having some really challenging times of, inconsistency with my business. That had I known what I know now, I could have built in more structure and support for more consistency. And so it's been a really deep journey. I'm grateful for all the lessons because I can really help other people very effectively. And I'll just share the last piece. I know this is actually turning out to be long. I'm back in the 7-year completion now. Like I left New York in 2016, and then I was guided to come back at the beginning of this year. And it wasn't clear at first. I had had another series of startups and a social media startup with a business partner in New York. I'd been living in Hawaii, and my guides were all showing me, "You're back in New York." And it didn't make sense. I'm like, "I thought I was done with New York. I lived there forever. Like, I'm complete." And I was guided and I came back, and it was to close that other business and to start a new one and
Oh,
to actually be part of a team. So I've moved back to New York now, and I'm on a team. I'm building a new company. It's in the AI behavior science space, actually, to create a new paradigm of work, to create a new culture of how we relate to work and to companies, and how we can support leaders to be really the kinds of leaders we need so that
mm,
teams can thrive and be connected to a higher purpose. And so all of my guidance was like, you're going to be on a team again, you're going to build, you kind of have a job again, actually. That's what it is. And what I'm seeing in my experience so far is that some of the lessons from the last time, 7 years ago when I was on a team, they're here.
oh,
They're here. And I'm conscious and I'm aware and I'm feeling them. And I'm here to complete them so that surely something new will always come again. And there will be more on this path. And I'm here to create a lot. But right now, my priority has been shown that I must complete these energies, I must complete these lessons and really show up. And it's like kind of clean that slate. And so I'm really grateful that came through to share. I really hope that helps. I've seen this with so many people, so many clients in these transitions. And it's like we have to remember we're here to learn and don't miss the opportunity to complete the lessons where you are.
it's absolutely such a powerful statement because I think a lot of times, like you said, we want to run away from the lesson, right? Like it's like, okay, I'm done with this. Like I want to close that door and never look back. And I think that just how you described it, like if it's a lesson that you're here to learn, it's gonna come through, it's gonna follow you. So I think that that's really important. So I love how um conscious you are now of that. Like you're aware, the awareness of it. So I think that's so important. So very cool. Cool story. Very good. I want to give this message from Jeanette. She said, I have been told I need to be channeling and not just from one source yet. I'm not sure where to begin, though I've been meditating and studying. I have had messages during my meditations and have asked for clarification, yet I am still not understanding of where to begin. Any suggestions?
Yeah, totally. Let me see. So Jeanette, when I tune in with you, I feel I'm shown an image of your energy field and just I mean I don't personally know you, but I'm just shown this like kind of reflection of the energy field and it feels kind of like some of what we were discussing earlier where there's a lot of top heavy kind of like mental plane activity. Um they're giving a lot of energy into the mental plane. And so doing practices like what we just did at the beginning of this session is actually excellent for you to do, I would say, on a daily basis. Can be the one that I guided or something similar that helps you really connect to the lower energy centers and that helps you connect to the earth. It helps you really ground and deepen the sense of like your energy flowing through your whole body. And with some repetition, it's like going to the gym and starting a new workout routine and building the muscles, right? These muscles haven't been utilized in a long time. And it will take some dedication to really do those embodiment practices. You start to feel those channels open. And then you'll start to feel, my sense is you're very clairsentient. And so, okay, okay, you remind me of a student that I've had too, where this is a common pattern where people will have an attachment to getting intuitive information in a certain way. Like there's a projection or there's an assumption that, oh, my intuition should come through as a voice in my head, or it comes through as a picture in my mind or something like that. And that's not always true. In fact, more people have clairsentience, which is the ability to translate intuitive information through feeling or just a knowing. And so it's not something that is coming through you to translate from the mental plane. So you might check yourself to see if when you ask a question, again, just like we did in the practice at the beginning, where I asked you to like tune in and say what's most important for me to know right now. That's an example of when we use our mental body to an extent to like formulate a question. But then as soon as you ask the question, deep breath into the body, ground, connect to the earth. Make sure your energy is flowing all the way through. You can have that pillar of light as an amplification of your receptivity. Start to notice if there's sensations in the body. Feel for sensations. Feel for a knowing. Feel for intuitive information will usually come from a certain direction. Depending on who I'm reading for or connecting to, it will come through usually in the upper right quadrant of my frontal awareness or the other side, and also depending on the dimensional source. So you'll start to understand this about yourself as you practice, but intuitive information will come through in usually a different direction also for you versus a thought that comes through in the mind, which is not necessarily sourced from intuition. And then from there, once you build some of that initial capacity and stability, you can hang out with tons more guides. And my Akashic Facilitator training program goes through all of this in depth. It's a 9-week program that will teach you how to do that if you want, if you're interested.
Very cool. Very nice. So speaking of guides, Jeanette says thank you. Andrea says, how to become aware of the current lessons for someone who didn't hear guides as clearly as you. So what she's asking is, how do you become aware of those lessons? Because a lot of us don't hear from our guides, but you answered that a little bit, I think, with like with the question and then going into your body. So anything else?
That's a really sweet question. I think it's a simple answer. How often do you feel yourself in a state of flow and ease and support, or resistance, anxiety, difficulty, overwhelm, stress? So when we're in more of a state of like activation and overwhelm or stress, or there's some kind of resistance going on, we're fighting against the stream of life on some level. There's a lesson we're supposed to be learning that we might be avoiding or escaping that's trying to get our attention. If we avoid it for too long, usually it comes through as a physical symptom in the body, such as pain or illness, to get our attention. Or if you feel more flow and ease and synchronicity and, happiness and peace, and maybe there's not an immediate lesson that you're meant to be. I mean, we're always learning and growing. There's always lessons, but there's periods in which I feel we're integrating, the wisdom from having completed a deep lesson. And we may have a period of just more, ease and grace and flow. And if it's not that, we're usually meant to be practicing, more curiosity as to like, hey, what am I growing through right now? What am I meant to be really growing through, facing? And you can ask if you're feeling any resistance, overwhelm, stress. It's like, source, guides, higher self. What am I not seeing? What am I not seeing that's in my way? What am I meant to be paying attention to? What am I meant to be growing through? Is there anything I'm missing? This is also a great way to start to activate your intuitive awareness and self-talk and just help like be your own life coach, And it's also helpful to work with people in your life, friends, trusted allies, advisors, coaches, whoever you trust and can be real with, and to have help reflecting and mirroring. And sometimes it's hard to see our blind spots, especially if we're meant to be growing through something really painful that we're not meant to face on our own. I
Very
hope
good.
that's helpful. That was a challenging question to just like try to simply answer.
It was good and it makes sense.
Okay.
So Laura asks, can bad energy stop you achieving your goals? And how do you get rid of it?
Yeah, I'd say just what was mentioned, honestly, same process. And what we're talking about is it's, find your own way of creating more self-awareness. Do you feel connected to yourself? Do you want to feel more connected? What are the ways that help you to feel more connected? I think for most people, it's not a thought process. It's not an intellectual process. It's like moving, get breathing, get dancing, get singing, do something fun, play, get out of the mind, more connection, more community. And then in those kinds of states where you're more in flow and more in ease, more present, you can become more aware of like, okay, wait a minute, there's this thing going on in my life that's pretty incongruent or feels heavy. Or, again, I don't think there's anything such as like good or bad energy when we're looking at it from a spiritual perspective. It's like everything is energy.
Mm,
Whether it's good or bad is a judgment that we make up. And what is good to me might not be good for you. It's like, so I try also to challenge myself because I can be really judgmental. It's a strong survival mechanism I've developed. And I try as best I can, imperfectly, to catch myself if I'm judging things as good or bad, especially energetically, right? It's like, if I'm noticing resistance or pain or something heavy or just incongruent or weird in my life, like, oh, that's weird. Like, what's that relationship about? Or what was that exchange about? That didn't feel great. And just try to feel it objectively. Like, yeah, that was imbalanced. That was kind of awkward. Like, what was going on there? What was my part in that? Did a part of me like welcome that in somehow? What am I learning? What am I learning from that? Things that are uncomfortable, that are strange, that are incongruent. What am I meant to be learning so that I can actually learn the lesson and maybe less of that experience gets attracted into my life?
love it. And it's just it really is, yeah, it's so much about just the awareness. I mean, I think that starts it, being conscious and aware, and then, which, as somebody said earlier, it sounds, we make it much harder. Because we're just going through our life, and, like, and just with our blinders on, and, to get to the level that you are, to be that aware is just it's a gift in itself. So thank you for sharing it with us.
Thank you. It's a gift and it's sometimes it's painful. I get it. I mean, I used to be an addict and just want to check out. It's a lot to take the responsibility to feel everything and to have the awareness and to it's a big responsibility. I could get why a lot of people on the planet right now aren't really excited about developing that.
Yeah. Especially at this particular time with it's like,
Fun. It's totally full on. It's like trauma healing Olympics. It's a lot and you feel the different like level, I don't even really like the word level, like hierarchy, all this conditioning, like weird guru complexes, and then the like commodification of spirituality and people just selling everything like you can just do my 5-step program to be free. And it's like, no, you
yeah,
can't. Like you have to do the work. You have to actually like
the work.
nobody's gonna wake you up. Like
Yeah,
you have to do it. Like you have to do the work. And the thing that's hard, that I wrestle with is like, what does it have to take? Like, does it have to be a rock bottom where people then are motivated to like really do the deal to take care of themselves and to feel that motivation? And it did for me. It took almost dying a bunch of times. I'm stubborn, and does it really take that? Is that just part of the human experience? And can I be at peace with that? Or, part of one of my drivers in this life is like, it doesn't have to get so bad, you guys, before it gets good. Like, can we just be motivated around shared vision and like creative potential and like the kinds of things we want to create? Or do we still have to like relate on trauma bonding and victim stories and like almost die to want to live? I don't
mm,
know.
yeah. That's an interesting question, though, and what a way to look at it. Because what does it take, and is it different for everybody, like that level of, like, whatever the rock bottom is, or the, like, I've had it, I'm not taking it anymore place.
Yeah, Bridget's like, no, we don't. Love that. Amen.
Trauma healing Olympics. So that, yes, that definitely resonated with me too. Does kind of feel that way.
Also, all a comedy. Like something that helps me too through all of it is just like this is all a show too.
Yeah,
Like I can take myself so seriously and I can be so serious about my mission and I want to help everybody and build cool things. And it's like, how can I just chill out a little bit, have some fun, refocus on like what feels good in this moment, like take it easy, decompress, and like
yeah.
laugh. People, we are so entertaining. People around you, this world, it's hilarious.
That's what I always say. I'm like, who needs to watch TV? Just watch what's going on around in this world. Like, that's enough of a show for me, even within my own head. So, all right. Gina, I've been told I'm clair sentient and clair cognizant. I guess I've always known this, or that I'm capable of knowing things from a high place. Does this mean my purpose is to dive deeper into these gifts, or is there a bigger picture that I'm not tapping into yet? I'm lacking clarity and direction. Thank you.
Thank you, Gina. And yeah, just hearing that, I immediately felt a kind of clearing from, I burped. I don't know if you could hear me, but I just had a big clearing from my lower kind of sacral energy center. So that points to that direction. I would look at that in your energy. This isn't a direct answer to your question, but that's the answer that I'm getting for you, is to like look at your sacral energy center, which is the center of creativity, the center of also sexuality and sexual expression, which for you, you might want to tune into your understanding of sexuality and your understanding of expression, creative expression. Sexuality isn't always what we're, taught it is, or, it's not what we think. It's how in touch we are with being who we really are, and how in touch we are with our desires of what we really want out of life, what we want out of this existence, what we want to be creating. And so, yeah, that makes sense. You have a strong claircognizance. A gut feeling is very connected to the sacral. I'm also getting a hit for you to look into human design. This is a really useful system for understanding energetic architecture and how to work with your different energy centers, gates, and channels that inform different abilities, and also help to highlight different unconscious patterns that you may be working on transmuting right now, such as the question about like knowing that you have access to seeing a bigger picture, probably actually clairvoyance, like being able to see the future and have a sense into future timelines, but that there's something kind of blocking you or a resistance in the way of fully accessing that ability. And I just, again, I'm drawn to the sacral. So in human design, the system would say there's different energies. It's a whole thing. I'm not going to explain it. You can look at it if you feel interested. It's really useful. But for you, I think you're probably a sacral authority, which means that you have an energetic makeup of like, it's really important for you to listen to that gut feeling. And the more that you take action in your life based on that knowing, which is immediate, instead of the mind, which will come after, and try to reason you out of what feels like a yes, the mind will try to reason you out of that into a no or some other strategy. That's what a lot of people are also working out on the planet at this time, is like rewiring that analytical, survival, logical, doubtful mind and listening to that deeper sacral, that body, that claircognizant knowing. The body is saying yes, 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 right away. It's in a moment. The mind is slower to respond and has to come up with all this reasoning, and it's different and it's so inefficient. It's so slow. So you tune into that and see if that helps. I think that'll, when you have more of your energy flowing, because you're just listening, you're going to learn to listen and work with the sacral more. You'll start to feel different.
Love that advice. Really good. All right. One more question, and then I want to talk about entourage after that. But Bridget asks, I'm working on embodiment and stability and have noticed my hips are stuck. Any advice to release that?
Yeah, that's a sensitive area. Tends to hold a lot of grief, a lot of inherited grief, mother healing. So I don't know if you're a mother or parent. I just get the strong archetype of the mother, which also came in our healing session earlier, like it's divine mother, feminine, divine feminine. And when we're holding a lot of grief in the hips, this can be from this lifetime, this can be from other lifetimes, it can be from inherited family, like generations before us. Usually, that's most often the case. And there can be great resistance to feeling that, because it can bring up, it's been a protection strategy wired in the body to not feel all of that because it's overwhelming. There's a lot to it. And sometimes when we start to feel very deep emotional patterns that have informed certain identity constructs and entire ways in which we orient to reality, it can feel very ungrounding. to start to feel these things and actually process the energy out. And we start to really change, and our whole lives start to change. And so for you, I would say, go really slowly and start to explore. I'm going to give you really specific guidance. So, what's worked really well for me for unlocking very deep trauma patterns in the body that tend to just show up as very tight, tense. There's armor, there's energetic armor protecting this area from being accessed. So, to start to open that up, you want to first create the conditions for safety, which usually requires going slow, really slow, mindful movement, even talking to that part of your body, putting hands on your body in that part, any part, and saying, hey, I'm here. Is it okay to connect and to start to explore with opening this space without an agenda of like, I need to fix this, I need to heal it, something's wrong. Just really trying to hold a loving, present, compassionate presence. And then what I found really helpful is setting a timer, even, like 10 minutes, 20 minutes, so that you just don't have to think about time and you're not like lost in this forever abyss of trauma healing. You just have like a window, and then the body can also relax into that and feel more safe. Like, okay, just 20 minutes, I'm safe. And then the buzzer goes off and I'm done. And then just a little bit at a time. And then you can start to just stretch, do any kind of authentic movement, stretching. Honestly, for hips, I love just rolling on the ground. I like starting with kind of like a light shaking, just shaking, kind of like you're shaking an old dusty rug or blanket, a couple minutes, and then just roll around on the ground. And really good if you want to go super deep for people really into myofascial release and like the deep unwinding eventually. You get these Thai yoga massage balls. Whenever I host retreats or do client immersions, I have like all these tools that just help to like unwind the body. And one of my favorite ones are these balls I got in Bali called Roll and Release. A friend of mine developed a whole yoga program using these balls to just myofascial release these like super tight points, the hips being one of them. So you can order these on Amazon. They're Thai massage balls. They look like tennis balls, but they're really hard. And then you might explore, rolling on those. And it can be a lot. It can bring up a lot. But if you do that in your own way and go slow, it will really change. It will change this patterning. It will help you to release when emotion comes up. Feel it. Let yourself feel it. It's good to have support. You can also go to body workers. Psoas. So this is also connected to the psoas, is a muscle that wraps around the whole. Um, you can look this up. It's really interesting on an anatomical map of the muscle system. The psoas is like the muscle of the soul.
Mm.
So a lot of people have tightness in this muscle in the hips, and then it can even go into the low back, and it can also be connected to having a weak pelvic floor. And it's another way that energy leaks out of the field and out of the body and out of these creative lower power centers. And the psoas, that can be wild. If you find a body worker or a massage therapist that can specialize in psoas release, it hurts so good. And you will feel major energetic shifts from that kind of work. Yeah, this has been a big part of my life, and I'm also a yoga teacher, and that's been a big part of my life. And so there's a lot that I can share on that side, and I'm really glad you asked. Thank you, and good luck.
Awesome. She says thanks. Very good. All right, so I would love to dive into Entourage. Let me put up the link, guys, so you can, if you're feel drawn to this work. It's lifereawakened.com/Sydney24. Again, lifereawakened.com/Sydney24. So I can share my screen if that helps you go through the program, or if you just want to tell us about it. Whatever you want to do is perfectly fine with me.
This is Entourage. I feel like just sharing about it from the heart. I created this container. It was first a live program. So when you access Entourage, you're with us. You're with us in this global field of extraordinary women that were part of a journey together at a really special time. And we went through a 4-month journey, and you will go through this with us in the program, a journey through really deep embodiment practice. I would say intuitive mastery practice. A lot of what we've talked about in this session, honestly. We go into Akashic records, nervous system healing, somatic release practices, basically really everything, very comprehensive protocols for developing deep presence and capacity in your body so that you can feel more powerful, feel connected to your purpose, feel connected to your knowing, and really start to live and lead in a totally different way. And then another part of the program, one of my favorites, is I, brought in some of my just like friends and guides who are at the cutting edge, leading edge of spiritual development, channeling, past life regression, quantum healing hypnosis, just geniuses, really, and high integrity, very real leaders. They came in to do master classes with us, so you'll get access to all of those. And they always include, I always have them include like a practice, a transmission. So you receive a healing session with them, and then practical support and discussion about how the practice can be integrated into your life. And I feel like this is one of the most full spectrum offerings I've ever created. I've ran a lot of groups and retreats and courses over the years. And Entourage is, I knew for this particular group that Entourage was the best thing I could offer to really give you a taste of all the different modalities and all the different support and resources, and included daily guided practices for you to try on your own. And just with this feeling of being part of a community and being connected to such beautiful support. So I'd love to have you tune in and see if it feels good for you. And when you're in the program, like it just feels like such a lifelong resource. And I even have students that have done it years ago. They're like, this keeps helping me. I keep coming back to this.
Awesome. I love it. I love it. And Sydney so graciously has given our community $100 off of this program of hers. So that's available this week. So if you're interested, dive in um, and check it out for sure. Um, it's virtual, right? Like this program's all
A
virtual.
program. Yeah. So as I shared in part of my session, I'm in an interesting moment where I've moved back to New York and I'm creating community here, and I'm building a new company, and I'm building a team, building a technology product, building a startup. It's really exciting. And I'm completing some big lessons from when I last, was in that type of field. And so I'm not offering a live training right now. Usually I would be offering a training or a course or something, but I have all of these incredible digital offerings from over the years. The one thing I'll say is that I may be offering a live Akashic facilitator training later this year. Maybe. It's not clear to me yet, but that's usually something that I at least like to offer once a year as, just a time to come together. It's a practitioner certification program. And I'm just listening. I'm listening to see when the time is really right for that. But in the meantime, yeah, Entourage is, I think, the best gateway into even that work if you want to get a starter feel for my approach to working in the Akashic Records and starting to develop more of a channeling practice.
So the AI company is very interesting if people have questions about it
Yeah.
because
Yeah,
it's
well, connect with me on Instagram and LinkedIn. I'm very active there. And I'm the chief of staff founding team in this new company. It's awesome. If you want to learn more, happy to share. The company is called Mattermore, and we're creating what we call Work 4.0, which is a completely new dimension, new experience of what it means to have a job, what it means to be in a team. And AI is integrated in what we're calling a co-pilot sense. So it's an interface, it's a platform that allows organizations to use AI to more transparently understand all the different levels of communication within a company. And then another piece is to take all the admin, like administrative work, off of people's plates that we don't really need to be doing anymore. And then we can have more energy to be better humans and better leaders and have more bandwidth to listen and, just really lead our teams and be more creative and be more inspired. So I personally feel really excited about being part of something that I feel has the potential to impact millions of lives in a very tangible, grounded way with, like the everyday person. Like we're all awakening in our own trajectory. We're all on this ascension journey just by nature of being on this planet and being, immersed in these frequencies. But for a long time in my, the last couple of years, it's like I love ascension. I love spiritual healing. I'm an energy healer. Like, it's who I am. I love connecting with you. I love connecting in platforms like this where people are hungry for awakening. People are so ready and they ask beautiful questions and they want to learn and they want to grow. I love it. I've also been doing it for a really long time. And I'm so grateful for the experience. And now my path feels to be, it's like an interesting transition. It can feel vulnerable sometimes, but I'm happy to share because others may be going through this as well, especially those that have been teachers and in this world for a long time where it's like, okay, wait a minute. Where's the best way for me to serve my gifts right now? That's also helping me to grow the most, like as a soul. And so I'm kind of in this like different assignment right now and I'm still coaching. I still, I'm offering support to clients and sessions here and there. Um, but I'm building this thing that's much bigger than me right now. And so if you want to keep in touch about that, love to stay in touch. I also have a newsletter called Soul Source. You can find that on my website. And we'll be hosting events actually as part of Mattermore. I'm launching an event at the end of June in New York City. We'll be hosting some things in San Francisco, and it'll be a lot of fun.
So cool. I love it. Well, I'm definitely following because it's such an interesting concept and such a much needed concept. So thank you for creating it. And thank you for being here with us today and sharing your wisdom. Your meditation was amazing, your process. So thank you for that, as well as entourage for our community, because I do think it's a great starting place for working with Sydney. If this is something that is down the road when if she offers her training, this is a great get your toes in the water with her work to see how it resonates. So thank you, Sydney, so much for being here and sharing with us today. Really, really appreciate it.
Thank you to this beautiful group. Thank you, Gretchen. Really, I'm deeply touched by each and every one of you, your presence, your questions, and just like the willingness to give yourself the gift of your own presence. It's revolutionary, in this day and age. It's really, truly revolutionary. And I wish you each the absolute best in your journey. I wish that you receive every lesson that's being thrown your way with grace and a lot of resource and support and just really rich community. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, look at all those hearts. Thank you, guys. Awesome. Thank you all for being here and being a part of this call. Great. These wouldn't happen without you and your energy. So I appreciate each and every one of you. So thank you so much. Have a great rest of your week. Thank you, Sydney, so much. Have
Thank
a
you.
great day, everyone. Bye bye.